Snow in the Summer, 1. Venerable Sayadaw Jodhika. Chapter 1, Mind, Mindfulness and Meditation, continue. Do whatever you want to do. Meditate, take robes, do penance. You know what's best for you. If I may give you any advice though, I would say, be mindful. Practice relaxing meditation. It's quite simple. Sit in an easy position or lie down if possible. Go through your whole body starting from your forehead, checking all the tension spots and for dull pain. As you become aware of the unpleasant feelings more and more, you will learn to relax the muscles, and the tension or pain will slowly fade away. Go over every part of your body without exception. Even the inside of your body. Do it very slowly and patiently, down to your fingers and toes, front and back. Do it once and over again. Before I became a monk, I had read many books on meditation. So I thought I knew all about it. After being a monk for about a year, I thought, now only do I know what meditation is, and after being a monk for 3 years, I thought, only now I really do know what meditation is. It goes on like that. When I was young, I read many books about explorers and I was very disappointed that there weren't any unexplored places left. Since I found the psychological world, I know that this is a wilderness world which has been explored by many. Many return into this world without proper instruments, and get lost. I have the best instrument, mindfulness. Sometimes I am surprised when I find a lot of people who are religious and don't know even the simplest thing about mindfulness. Some people said that it was the first time they'd heard that one can practice mindfulness anywhere, anytime, no matter what one is doing. Many people thought that one should practice meditation when sitting only, and that one should not do anything while meditating. They think that is the only time to meditate, which means they are not willing to watch their mind when they are relating to people. In their daily life, many people do a lot of sitting practice, but they don't see their greed, desire, anger, hatred, pride, envy, jealousy. A lot of meditators do not see the importance of watching with honesty the defilements arising spontaneously in their daily life, in their interactions with people, and when talking to people. I emphasize a lot about being mindful while talking, that's when people are the least mindful. Most meditators have a scheduled time to meditate. They do formal sittings, and they choose some object like breathing, the rising and falling of the abdomen, touching or feelings. They have a choice of their object of meditation, which is okay in the beginning. Choice means exclusion, they exclude some things. Meditation should be about inclusion. My understanding is that people should first try to be aware of their defilements. Baisite Sampajanakari Hoti. A person who is practicing mindfulness talks mindfully. Talking is a big part of our life. It is very beneficial to develop mindfulness while talking. It is not easy, but it is also not impossible. Be mindful of what you want to talk about, and, when talking, be mindful of your lips moving, the tone and loudness of your voice, or whatever is related to talking. The most painful experiences in life arise from relationships. So it is very important to be mindful when we are relating to people. We should be aware of our attitude towards the people we relate to. To watch our attitude toward anything is very important. If we don't have the right attitude, we will create a lot of problems. A lot of meditators who do not see their attitudes clearly cause a lot of problems. I try to be mindful while riding in a car, talking to people, doing things. A good opportunity for one to practice mindfulness is when one is busy practicing what I teach. To be mindful is the best thing I can do for myself. If you can practice mindfulness for mindfulness' sake, you will understand mindfulness better. People are full of conflicting wishes and desires. Most people don't know what they really want to do. They change their minds back and forth. Inconsistency is the rule. The mind is full of conflicting feelings. The shadows of the trees are long. The sun is going down. The evening breeze is cool. How quiet and peaceful it is here. It is like a Brahma world. Simplicity, contentment, restraint, samvara, mindfulness, thoughtfulness, endurance, loving-kindness, compassion, and understanding of the mind and body are what makes life here so peaceful. I never feel boredom. I live peacefully and I hope to die peacefully in a forest. I watch my mind. Things come and go. Nothing lasts forever. Even the worst of them doesn't last long. So when they come I know they will be gone in the next instant. I don't have to do anything to make them disappear. I want to see them as if I'm looking through a microscope at something very interesting. But the moment I focus my mind on whatever is arising I see only a glimpse of it. Then it's gone. I want to say, please stay, let me see you well. After all, we are old acquaintances. But they are afraid of close scrutiny. So mindfulness is my constant companion. I watch mindfulness. I am mindful that I am mindful. Awareness of awareness. The most important thing is to be mindful. To be so mindful that thinking comes to a stop and you see what life is all about, where the problems come from. Your problems come from your mind. You won't understand what I mean when I say, your problems come from your mind, but when you reach a point where you understand your mind really deeply then you will know. I live peacefully because I understand my mind deeply. Wisdom can overcome kama. Another point I noticed a long time ago about mindfulness is that you must do it continually. The same for keeping precepts either as a monk or as a layman. If you say I will keep the precepts and be mindful in retreat but not try your best when out of retreat, then you are not true to the Dhamma. It's like committing adultery when married to a woman, a funny simile. The relationship becomes a fake. You can't get real joy. You can't even be really serious. Well, that's the way I see it. One must be always true, faithful, not commit adultery, to what one is doing, precepts, mindfulness. Otherwise you can't respect what you are doing, or respect yourself. And without that respect your action will not be joyful, fulfilling, fruitful. Mindfulness has no motive or attitude. It only sees things clearly, without judging, without wanting things to be otherwise. Practice mindfulness to see what is. That's all. We are not aware of a great part of the process which we call our mind, and we've forgotten a large part of our experiences and feelings and decisions in the past lives too. Yet those things have much influence on the way we feel and think, and that part which we are not very well aware of, or have forgotten but is still part of our mind, I call the unconscious mind, for want of a better term. I am becoming more and more aware of the dark side of my mind, and as I become more accepting it becomes more revealing and I become more at ease. We use words when we communicate, but words are so vague in meaning. A lot of things have lost their importance for me. I am not concerned about a lot of things anymore. That gives me more freedom to see what's going on in my mind, in my life, and what the mind is really doing. I am deeply interested in meditation. Much of our suffering is our own creation. The mind is a great magician, it creates suffering and it suffers, it creates pleasure and it enjoys, it is bitten by a snake which is its own creation and suffers the effect of the poison. If only it knew and did not create so much suffering, 90% of the mental pain would not be there anymore. I have come here so that I can have more time to go deeper into my own mind and heart. I want to become more acquainted with myself, to see all the conflicting motives, desires, wishes, ideals, in my mind and heart. I want to be familiar with all the dark nooks and crannies of my mind, and all the creeping and crawling spiders, scorpions and vipers, all the lions and eagles, etc. Not that I want to drive them away. I just want to become a good friend to my mind, a kind and understanding friend. Unless I know them very well, they will not let me sleep peacefully. I want to get a clear idea of how to relate to people. I don't like people thinking of me being a certain type of person which I really am not. But that is inevitable. Everybody in the world is misunderstood. And I will still be upset if they understand me correctly. As long as I'm clear about my motives, it's okay. Where you live and with whom you associate with is very important. Some places and people put your mind in a bad mood, and to be in a bad mood all the time can really damage your mind. We are very subtly influenced by people around us. I am becoming more detached from people and organizations. People use people for their own self-aggrandizement in the name of helping. Whoever fights with monsters should see to it that in the process they do not themselves become monsters. Nietzsche. I have been watching my mind for so many years now. So I am very much aware of my mind. I know how stupid, silly, foolish, mischievous the mind can be, but because I am aware of it, it cannot carry me away. I have forgotten most of what I've learnt from books. I don't want to remember too many things. But I know a lot about myself, my mind, my mental states, all the bad, silly things about me. I've been taught by people that such things are shameful, that I should feel guilty for having such thoughts. I refuse to believe them. I know that all of us have such thoughts, but most of us deny that. I'm not going to tell people all about me. I accept, I don't resist, all about me, good and bad. We cannot change anything unless we accept it. Carl Jung, understanding and accepting myself gives me peace of mind, ease of mind. I'm okay just the way I am. I will go on seeing my mind without rejecting, judging, resisting, denying. One person I really want to know well is myself. I prefer my mind empty, clear, and light and not burdened with learning. I have nothing to prove, nothing to defend and nothing to propagate. I did a lot of foolish things when I was young. I still do foolish things sometimes. I can't even talk about them, but I don't try to forget them. The memory of the things I did come into my mind, I don't resist them. I don't even feel very upset although I feel the pain. Everybody makes mistakes. I have learned a lot about what happens to the mind when a person makes a mistake, how the mind burns with guilt. How the mind wants to forget the past, mistakenly, and especially how it, mistakenly, keeps the person from feeling worthy of the good things in life, such as love, respect, devotion, honor, etc. I forgive myself. Given the circumstances, how could I have avoided doing those things? But do I need to go on feeling guilty for the rest of my life? No. I've learned from my mistakes and I'll try my best not to repeat them. What more can I do? Nothing. Accepting the truth will free the mind. I'm not all wise, I'm very foolish sometimes. Mindfulness of my mind is my compass. When I make mistakes, mindfulness of my mind always tells me that I am in trouble. There can be no real spiritual growth without deeply understanding ourselves just the way we are. Momentary peace and bliss is very encouraging, but that alone cannot bring transformation. Opinions that agree offer security. Yes, I can go on being upset about people for not being open-minded, but I don't want to do that anymore. I cannot change them, I am not responsible for them, I will help them if I can. Most people don't know what is happening in their mind, in their life. They think they know but they don't. Most people are very heavily conditioned. You need tremendous awareness and honesty to overcome that conditioning. You are conditioned and I am conditioned too. Do we know that we are conditioned? Most of our thinking and reactions are conditioned reflexes. So let us work first on ourselves. When we ourselves are free from conditions, then I think we can do something to help others become deconditioned. As long as we are upset, we will hurt others in the name of helping. Self-deception. Sometimes it can be so complete that you don't even know. Defensiveness makes you blind to your own weaknesses, self-deception. We deceive ourselves to be happy. Sometimes it is painful to see our weak points. Don't carry all the past memories and all the future cares in your mind. Live each and every moment mindfully. The future will take care of itself. As we learn, we grow out of many of our attachments, desires, dreams, hopes. Disillusionment is painful in the beginning because it is associated with disappointment, but later on it frees the mind. It makes one become more realistic. Life is not a fairy tale. There is no "they lived happily ever after" in real life. To be truthful, we must change. Like a snake which sheds its skin because it has become too tight, we must shed our cherished dreams. Instead of complaining that it has become too tight for us to breathe, we must shed our old skin and grow a new one, allowing us to breathe more easily. But we must remember that when the time comes to shed that again, we should not be reluctant. It is always painful to shed old skin. One becomes very vulnerable and oversensitive because the new skin is not strong enough yet to stand contact with the environment. I have become more and more independent psychologically. I don't feel lonely. How to be mindful/watchful of the deep down mental states. You can sense the feeling. Be mindful of the feeling and wait patiently for the thing to surface. Don't use force. Keep your mind soft. Happiness is having a quiet mind, and being completely mindful, so mindful that there is no thought, no sense of I. This happiness comes when all thoughts of the past or future do not occur, no I, no yesterday, no tomorrow, no plan. In that timeless moment there isn't an I experiencing that bliss. There is only the happiness. Real happiness has no reason. When you are really happy, with no sense of I, you cannot say I am happy because, if you try hard to be happy you are sure to fail. Real happiness comes without being invited. Can you watch your mind so closely that it comes to a point where thinking stops? The mind is peaceful when there is no thought but just awareness of what is. Thinking cannot make the mind peaceful. There are problems which cannot be solved, and the best way to deal with such problems is not to think about them. Thinking round and round just wears you out. Educated people like us think too much. We must admit that. We must discipline ourselves not to indulge in thinking too much. Reading, talking, and all other distractions make a person forgetful. A person who does too much of any of these feels very empty, restless, and bored when not doing them, or their mind becomes very dull without those stimulants. Each thought wears and tears the mind. Thinking is a burden, a torture. You think you can find a way to make yourself happy by thinking about it. How long have you fooled yourself that way? And how long are you going to fool yourself? Enough thinking. Just see what's happening without thinking. A lot of things have lost their importance for me. That gives me a lot more freedom to see what's going on in my mind, in my life. A thinking mind cannot see, thinking is blind. A seeing mind does not think, seeing excludes thinking. Really seeing is not the same as noting. The more you think, the more you go round and round. If you see thinking really clearly, it must stop. I'm not thinking. Thoughts are going on by themselves. It seems like they are self-perpetuating. Don't think too much and don't do too much. To be able to meditate one should, not be busy, not talk much, not indulge in sleeping, delight in solitude, be aware of all the 6 sense doors, be moderate in eating. How's your meditation these days? When you stop thinking, when you even stop noting, when your mind comes to complete silence, being alert and aware, then you see the fleeting nature, the dreamlike nature of things. In the box, there are some old newspapers. I started to read them, and I watched my mind. Distractions. Entertaining. Time-killing. Useless. People get absorbed in entertainment and information, diverting their mind from the real, important things in life. It is much more rewarding to study your own mind and your own life, but most people are afraid to do that. Instead they want to forget themselves. They are running away from themselves, they don't have enough courage to face themselves. Or they are scared they will go crazy if they think too much about themselves. But I'm not talking about thinking, I'm talking about watching. Yes, if you think too much about yourself, you will go crazy. People feel empty and useless. To cover that they try to keep themselves busy. People feel important when they're busy. Who can tell you what to do? Not me. Neither a guru nor a psychiatrist. You have to find out for yourself. I can only tell you, be mindful and live a simple life, which I think you are doing anyway. We cannot have everything. We have to make a choice and let the rest go. Less desire, less burden. I have no doubt that craving, attachment, lust, and greed is the source of dukkha, suffering, and the only way to grow out of them is seeing through and through. Suppressing and/or expressing has not much value either. Understanding deeply is what counts. No amount of explanation can make you understand what greed is unless you see it when it is functioning in your mind. It is like a spy, it has many faces and is deceitful. You've been deceived by greed. Tanha, greed, mana, pride, conceit, ines, ditthi, wrong views, are papanksa, hindrance to spiritual progress, illusion, delay. They are the cause of so much unnecessary activities, the cause of the prolongation of samsara, cycle of birth and death, and the cause of delay for people to practice and become liberated. Papanksa expands mental and physical phenomena, keeping people busy and distracted. Vitakka, initial thought, reflection, is initially putting, applying, the mind on an object, or initially taking an object into the mind, whereas Vichara is keeping the mind on the same object in a sustained way. Vichara works together with Vitakka in the beginning stages of meditation because the mind slips away from the meditation object. It has to be put back again and kept there. After some practice the mind does not slip away so easily, but it needs effort to keep it on the object. After much practice it stays on the object. Both are mental concomitants, Kaitasika. I have read Vimala Thacker's article Meditation, A Way of Life. Here are some of the things I really liked in it. Unless there is an innate passion to find out, to discover for oneself, one will not be equipped to live the meditative way. Meditation is a total way of living, not a partial or fragmentary activity. Life is neither Occidental or Oriental. There is no excitement in a real inquirer, there is a depth of intensity, not the shallowness of enthusiastic excitement. Then that state of observation begins to permeate the waking hours. Whether you cook a meal, go to the office, or while you are talking, the state of observation begins to permeate all activities of the waking hours. When the state of observation is sustained, the sensitivity gets heightened, and from morning till night you are much more aware than before. It is no use concentrating your attention upon the activities of the mind, to the exclusion of the rest of your way of living. Meditation is something pertaining to the whole being and the whole life. Either you live in it or you do not live in it. In other words, it is related to everything physical and psychological. Thus, from the small area of mental activity, we have brought meditation to a vast field of consciousness, where it gets related to the way you sit or stand, the way you gesticulate or articulate throughout the day. Whether you want it or not, the inner state of your being gets expressed in your behavior. This co-relation of meditation to the total way of living is the first requirement on the path of total transformation. Very few of us realize that constant verbalization is one of the greatest obstacles in the path of meditation. Life is a homogeneous whole and you can never fragment it. To be aware of the lapse or the gap is itself a kind of observation. Vimala Thakur. A fragmentary or specialized approach to life will not work. One needs an all-round understanding. In the body, every part is related to every other part. So it is in life. Every aspect of your life is related to every other aspect of life. The economic, sexual, emotional, intellectual, social, and spiritual aspects of your life are all related. You cannot keep them separate. If you try to keep them separate, your life will be unfulfilling and unharmonious. There will be conflict, a schism, paralysis. Have you ever read that the Buddha washed his feet, hands, and bowl very carefully? Everything he did was spiritualized. That is true spirituality. It is related to every aspect of your life. So the way you talk, dress, relate to other people, eat, sleep, laugh, everything you do reflects your mind. What do people mean when they say, very deep meditation experiences? What is a stream winner? Who can tell whether somebody is a stream winner or not? Is there any difference between a stream winner and an ordinary worldling? What is the difference? Answer yourself. Don't bother to tell me. How to think profoundly. You need a quiet, mindful mind, a mind which is not tired or agitated but seeing clearly. It is the seeing clearly which is important. Conflicts we all have, both internal and external. Only clear awareness and wisdom can help. Nisatta, being less, Najiva, soul less. Try to think more positive thoughts. Thinking is very powerful. And have things around you which will make you more cheerful. Read books that make your mind calm, serene and cheerful. Some books are depressing. And don't expect too much either from yourself or others. After I'd practiced mindfulness meditation for 2 years, I read Mahasi Sayadaw's book on mindfulness practice and found that most of what I'd experienced agreed with what he had said in his book, to my astonishment and delight. Better to practice long enough and then read the book on Nyanzen, stages/progress of insight, but Nyanzen is not a feather in one's hat. A Sotapanna will not break the 5 precepts. That's what the Buddha repeatedly said. Some basic knowledge of what the Buddha taught is necessary. Without having heard about Dhamma from some good teacher, it is impossible to practice it rightly. How much pariyatti, theoretical knowledge of the Dhamma, is necessary? That's the question. Pankavagi, the group of 5 monks, heard the Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta and the Anattalakhana Sutta, and that was enough for them, to attain enlightenment. Sila, morality, is necessary, without which one cannot be at peace with oneself. Sila supports meditation and meditation supports Sila. You will find all sorts of people in that country. Some are sincere, some understand Dhamma, but a lot of them are totally lost and mixed up. Hindu, Zen, Tibet, Theravada, Western psychology. Someone said it is Hinleo, a type of Burmese curry with many ingredients, in America. All sorts of things mixed up and boiled. No perfection anywhere. If you don't know anything about Dhamma, you can get even more confused. Go there for a visit and find out. Life is a series of experiments. Nobody can tell you whether you'll be happy there or not, but you'll sure find a lot of freedom, freedom to live your life in your own way. As for the way others are living their life, what can one say? It's their life. Everybody is more or less a bala, fool. Your understanding and practice of Dhamma is your only protection. Yes, the more mindful one is, the softer one becomes. One becomes more sensitive to pain, more sensitive to unhappiness, more sensitive to nonsense. One can get easily irritated by meaninglessness. You might feel upset because the world is full of people who are not even aware of their unwholesome states of mind. And they even expect you to share their attitude towards life, conduct. You might sometimes feel very unhappy that people not only do not appreciate Dhamma, but they even laugh at those who practice it. Sometimes they even intentionally give them trouble. These things happen even among monks. So understand people and forgive them. Upekkha, equanimity, is very peaceful. Sometimes, some people ask me why they become so easily irritated, upset, in their relationships with people. The answer is that they can't tolerate so much nonsense anymore. They don't want to waste so much time talking and gossiping. Before, they enjoyed talking, gossiping, killing time, talking politics. Now they can only tolerate a small dose of it. When they become mindful of what they are talking about, they feel it tastes bad in their mouth. They feel degraded, upset when the other party doesn't take the hint. They might even become rude. So you must be very mindful of that kind of mind state. Understand people and forgive them. The more I meditate and have sati, mindfulness, the more I want to run away from this mad world. It would be nice if that were possible. But before you can change, try to be tolerant and develop upekkha, or else you will burn yourself out. You always try to help us, understand us, have you no need for others to understand you? Yes, I don't need others to understand me, but I would appreciate it if they did. To understand somebody is not so easy. I don't really understand others, but I try. It's hard enough to understand oneself. If you don't understand yourself, how can you understand another person? And to understand yourself, you must be very honest with yourself. It's really difficult to be honest with oneself. We lie to ourselves all the time. I am a hypocrite. It's painful to see that. Maybe you forgot I am a human being too, with my own share of foolishness. I don't think I can become perfect, and I don't want to be perfect. All I hope for is to see what is real in me. Even when I see my faults, I don't get excited or upset. I am not in a hurry to remove them. I can't remove them. I can only hope to see them as they really are. And in most cases, even when I see them, I distort them. The mind is very good in distorting things. Self-deception. I deceive myself most of the time. I'm learning to see self-deception more and more. I'm not really upset when I see self-deception. If not for mindfulness, my life would be a bad joke. To accept the inevitable is very important for peace of mind. Real anicca, impermanence, is beyond story level. Reading something in a newspaper and understanding anicca is being intellectual. When you really see anicca, it is what you are experiencing in the immediate present. There is no thinking. It's hard to write everything in a letter. So much to say, so little space. After all, what I've said is not really important. No big deal. It could be quite useless. What I've left unsaid, what I couldn't say, seems to me more important. This is just beating around the bush. When my mind is calm, I have nothing in my mind to write. If you want the truth, I will tell you the truth. Friend, listen. The God whom I love is inside. Kabir. People create ideas, and those ideas become prisons, but a man who can see through the walls can go through it. If you can meditate well, it doesn't matter what kind of clothes you wear. Labels don't mean much if you know what they are for. But people get attached to labels, packages. It is up to you to decide how many precepts you want to keep. Choose a suitable object or two for yourself, and be mindful of them continuously. Continuity is the most important point. Thinking cannot make the mind happy. Watch your thoughts without wanting to control them. When you see them clearly, they will stop. I'm going to meditate more seriously. My mind is too full with too many worldly matters. I've traveled and talked too much. Now I want to be quiet again. Thinking is such a big burden. I am a man in a boat in the open sea, alone, without any radio to contact, but I have my compass, mindfulness. When your thoughts become radical and you do not want to be misunderstood, you become silent, or you will say things that you are not really interested in saying. You say things that get near to what you want to say, but you say it in such a way that people don't understand what you are saying. Sometimes you are happy that they don't understand what you are saying. Why do you want to express your thoughts? That is another attachment. If you let go of that attachment, there will be silence and peace. To be resisting all the time to people and situations, even though it is slight, can cause mental strain, which can cause exhaustion in the long run. Watch your mind and see how much reaction is going on to real and imaginary situations. See the mental strain. It is better to live in a place where you don't have to resist or react all the time. You might have to live alone, if you can stand loneliness. The deeper you feel, the more silent you must be about your feeling. Whereof one cannot speak, thereof one must remain silent. Wittgenstein. I would like to be a silent Buddha. Being misunderstood is too frustrating. Most people have not enough courage to see/accept the truth. They want something that will make them happy. Truth is sometimes frightening. Really. Being disillusioned is scary. There is nothing you can hold on to. Not even Dhamma. What is Dhamma, anyway? There is only to see, to understand. Most people are looking for something they can hold on to, a set of ideals, a goal, a method, a community, a sect, an order, anything they can identify with. Unless you can embrace loneliness, you will not understand what friendship really means. For most people, friendship is a means to overcome loneliness. Cultivate loneliness. Live alone as much as possible and see if you feel okay about that. If you can really handle loneliness, it will be nice to live in a place like that. If you can get a good friend to share that peaceful place with you, it would be better. But I think the price is too much. I hope you are happier now, doing something you like. Do you practice mindfulness always?